I knew that I didn't have any godfathers in the legal profession, and those days, I'm talking about 91, 92, there were not many two-way law firms in the country.
Welcome to Counsel's Code. I can sense that, your passion where you started off, the fundamentals, the value system that you had to getting into this profession. I think you probably are getting all of it at this point, which is remarkable.
Just imagine a US entity, parent entity taking our data and learning from us.
You built a litigation manager and a compliance software from scratch inside the organization.
Litigation, if you say that it is your strong point, then it is a weak point for you. Because litigation is not something that any corporate will look forward to now.
Welcome to Counsel's Code, a podcast which is not just about law, but also about the stories behind it. Here, we sit down with some of the most thoughtful minds in the legal profession to hear their stories, what shaped them, and how they see the world of law evolving around us. I'm your host, 𝗷𝘂𝘀𝘁𝗲𝗏, SVP at 𝗯𝗯𝗵𝗊, where we work with the corporate legal teams, lawyers, law firms, and institutions to enable them to make litigation and legal workflows smarter with technology and responsible AI. We do this through our products, Volody, the AI-driven CLM platform, and 𝗀𝗂𝘀𝘁, the legal intelligence platform. Our guest today is someone whose career reads almost like a masterclass in doing things the right way, even when it wasn't the easy way. Mr. Amit Vyas started out as a very young student in Delhi who used to clip court case reports from newspapers just because he loved the law. That passion never left him. He went on to qualify simultaneously as a company secretary and LLB from Delhi University. He is a seasoned legal and governance leader with over 3 decades of experience. Currently, the company secretary and head legal at NOCIL Limited, where he heads legal compliance and ESG. Before this, he headed legal and internal audit at 𝗷𝗂𝘀𝘁, VP Legal at Maharashtra Hybrid Seeds, held key roles in Procter & Gamble India, along with earlier stints at Larsen & Toubro and SBI Capital Markets. His team has picked up some of the most coveted recognitions in the profession, including Legal Team of the Year and India Risk Management Award, and he has been writing about law with the same enthusiasm since 1992. Mr. Vyas, truly a pleasure to have you with us today. Welcome to Counsel's Code.
Thank you, 𝗷𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀, and thank you, Kunal, for giving me the opportunity to share my experiences and my thoughts. Please.
Yeah, wonderful. So Amit, before we get into the journey, I have to ask you this. 2 books, decades of articles in Chartered Secretary and Legal Era, and one of the most awarded compliance functions in the country, all running simultaneously. Where does the drive come from?
Well, that's basically so deeply rooted in my, inner self, the passion for the subject law, irrespective of any law it is. Somehow, right from my childhood days, since my BCom days, my graduation days, I was always fond of this subject. And maybe genetically I'm made for this because I also write, since my dad is a acclaimed journalist and he is a 𝗀𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃 awardee by the President of India, and senior most journalist in the country on Gujarati newspapers. And so I think I did pick up from him genetically as well as otherwise academically also. And we used to get about 7 newspapers at home. That's what I have been observing the last so many years. And I used to enjoy reading every bit of it. But more particularly on the legal front, any legal news in those times, there was no internet and there was no social media at that time. Newspapers were the only media there. So I used to enjoy keeping, small cuttings of cases which I found very interesting, particularly on corruption or on criminal law. And in those days, lots of political fights, various issues of the government, corruption and all that. So I used to keep a track of that. And I used to maintain a small diary. And believe me, if there was no laptop or computer way back, that was 88, 89. And then, I used to send letters to the editor by means of a small typewriter which I had at home. And I used to post it, and then I used to feel very excited when my letter was published by the newspaper on the editorial page. And that's how it is, I just loved it because the moment I discovered something which was intriguing, I'll go deep into it and I'll try to, share it. And somehow the habit of not keeping things to my chest, but to share it with the readers or whosoever it is, wherever. I just enjoy it. I just
Awesome.
enjoy it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so inspiring, actually. And I think from the time, at that time, I think things were very different. So I'm now actually much more keen now. So walk us through your journey, from financial services, Procter & Gamble, seeds, chemicals, and what that arc really made you as a lawyer.
Sure. See, after being very passionate for law and CS, I did both the things simultaneously. Because I knew that I didn't have any godfathers in the legal profession, and those days, I'm talking about 91, 92, there were not many two-way law firms in the country, and nor did I have any of those reaches. So my father was highly placed in the parliament, but I didn't want to use that particular medium to get into any legal firm or be there at one of the top firms, but hardly any few big firms in Delhi. So I came down to Mumbai. I started my career as the company secretary of SBI Capital Markets. Now, SBI Caps in those days was the number one investment bank, ranked number one for 7 years consecutively, and one of the topmost investment banks with SBI holding a majority stake. Also, it was in news for all the wrong reasons, like the MSU's scam. And in those days, the 𝗓𝗂𝘁 scam, the company was not involved as an investment bank, but it was a part of some of the deals, underwritings and all that, where the scam tainted issues were involved. So when I joined SBI Caps way back in August 96, MSU's scam was the first thing which came to my table. And I was a very young guy at that time, and all the SBI, all my colleagues and all, they were very, very senior people. And initially they felt that, okay, this guy is good to be a company secretary and handle the board meetings, but can he handle this kind of case? And I said, no, I will definitely get deep into this. I studied the file, and we fought that case for about a year, and finally we came out of it. We also fought a lot of other CBI matters and MRTP cases and all that. So SBI Cap was a great beginning because very, very professional environment. And let me tell you, we have the best of finance professionals in the state bank. The only thing is that they are bound. Their hands are bound by the CVC regulations, and they are not able to take risky calls, because the moment they take a risky call, if there's some issue comes up, then they are governed by CVC, Central Vigilance. So all my bosses were all brilliant guys. I learned so many things from them, particularly on the systems, the processes, the governance. Actually, the governance lessons came to me from SBI Caps. And the standards in SBI was supreme. I just enjoyed every bit of my stay there. And then, of course, then there was a saturation because the entire stock markets were down, and there are not many pilots coming up. So then I decided to switch over to L&T. L&T, I spent about 4 years as a counsel, company affairs and legal. But then L&T was a big ocean where I was a small fish, and I was there in as one of the company secretaries of L&T Komatsu. But there, the exposure was more of compliance and regulations with the listing conditions and listing regulations and all that. So huge. That time they had about 6 lakh shareholders way back. I'm talking about 2002. Today, phenomenally grown. I was one of the persons handling the investor servicing process there, and then the gradual switch over, and finally, my real career started with SBI Caps, and my real MNC career started with Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble was a big breakthrough in my career, and let me tell you that I had never worked in an MNC earlier. I had always worked for typical Indian environments, and though I have always worked for ethical environments, I have never wanted to be tilted in favor of any kind of shortcuts or unethical practices, which normally we used to find in those days. Even now we find that, not very often, but in those days it was so rampant. Somehow the culture of the corporates, the Indian corporates was such that even during interviews, when you were interviewed for the position as a legal head or as a company secretary, you were asked that how many people do you know in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs? Which person do you know personally in SEBI? Can you get this thing done? And can you help us, come out of this situation by whatever means? And then you could understand what it means.
Yeah.
So it was something that was not fitted into my psyche.
Yeah.
Procter & Gamble was something which was the first, the American company, one of the best employers in the world today. And it is rightly ranked as number one because of the environment, very ethical. And the Americans, they believed in ethics and letter and spirit. It was not just written in some manual or their business conduct manual that you're not supposed to do this. They followed it. And I was trained very rigorously on this. initial days, because I came from the Indian background, Indian environment, and I was posted here in Mumbai in the corporate office. And then they knew very well, the bosses there knew very well that yes, you are coming from environment, and they had tested me during the interview, posed certain queries to me about some peculiar situations where you have to, supposing you have to bribe somebody to get a license for the cosmetic product that they had. How exactly will you deal with the situation? So they were testing my nerves, and they were testing how exactly I would react. And I think they found my reactions to be as per their code. And they took me in, and then it was all fun time, because there are so many challenges that came up there. But we faced all those situations ethically, as per the law, as per the compliance, as per the legal norms, and we won. We came out of most of the issues. We fought against competition, Hindustan Levers, and we had constant fights with them in the Advertisement Standards Council. Advertisements involving crores of rupees, spent on the.
Yes.
For example, to share with you a small example. There was this famous war between Tide and Rin. Tide was my product, detergent, and Rin was the Lever's product. And they came out with a very disparaging advertisement campaign against us, saying that your Tide is very poor, very clearly showing my pack on the screen and showing their pack to be superior, why, and ours is very inferior. So finally, we had to move the High Court at Calcutta, and after a week fight against them, we got a big stay order, and that was reported by many newspapers in India at that time. And Levers was castigated at every nook and corner for indulging in this kind of practice. So it was, we had a very good track record of winning against competition. And our team was ranked as one of the best legal teams, 2010, by the head legal of the entire PG outfit in US. She was an American based in US, and they had rated us as one of the best performers in the legal side. So apart from that, they were also a listed company, Procter & Gamble, Hygiene Healthcare, and Gillette India. I handled compliances of both the companies with the latest governance standards and norms. And it was a huge function. And Americans believed in thin and lean team. So we used to have only 4 people. What I have now, even currently, because I was supposed to handle this whole function with these 4 people. And of course, we would take people on retainers as consultants and all, but not employees. Employment was something very sensitive over there. Our best thing I learned over there is the kind of trainings that I conducted. It's the first time. I used to go for lectures, I used to go for seminars, but then, conducting speaking in midst of people who just qualified from IIM Ahmedabad and all those great guys with high IQs, and, telling them that how you are supposed to be compliant with the law while following your advertisement or marketing tactics and what is not good and what is bad. As for the code of conduct, it calls, it was a testing time, and I was put to a test earlier. Then how exactly would you behave with an audience? And finally, I used to come out with quite good rankings in the speakers, and that's how it did. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I enjoyed the work, enjoyed the environment, enjoyed everything. Then finally, I was due for an elevation, and I was to go to China. But in China, if I opt for China, then you can't come back to India till your retirement, which I didn't want. All said and done, in China, you don't the challenges that you face in India. For an FMCG company, I don't think you face the challenges there. So I decided to opt out, and then I joined Maharashtra Hybrid Seeds, which was again a kind of joint venture with Monsanto, the US, and the Indian seeds company. It was into BT cotton. This was a genetically modified seeds, which today are now proscribed. Today, nobody goes out for any genetically modified seed or product because these horrible side effects it can give you. But those days, it was a new technology. It was a patented technology, and the promise given to us by Monsanto was that this doubles the production of cotton in the farm. Once you put the seeds in the soil, it will give you double the kind of output as compared to normal seeds. And it did wonders. It did, it was first time this technology came to India in form of BT cotton. And after that, there was a problem with the rains, and the crops failed, and the seeds failed. And then my major task there was to handle very serious litigation against the promoters, against the directors all over the country. And the task given was that I should accomplish, elimination of all this litigation, which was frivolous by the governments. And we were successful there also. We came out of it almost 75 to 80% cases we threw out. And because the grounds and merits were very strong in our favor, it was not something wrong with our statements or farmers committed suicide in Karnataka and Maharashtra, and then they used to rope in the managing director for causing, for abetting that suicide because, legally there's no link, absolutely. It's just a case been filed by political parties. So
Yeah.
that was a major experience there. It was massive litigation.
Very interesting.
Greaves Cotton was a different ballgame. It was more of internal audit and compliance audit and all. It was not very enterprising. In the sense that there is frequent changes of the people there, whether it was a CFO or CS, and lots of internal issues were there which are not in good taste. So then I decided to move out and I joined NOCIL, and 7 years. I completed 7 years on 15th of April in NOCIL, and it has been a great going so far. I'll tell you, of all the motor companies that I've worked with so far in my 30 years of career, this is one company where the professional liberty given to you and the support given to you for ethical conduct is phenomenal by the 𝗷𝗂𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗀. These guys are known for that kind of high ethical conduct and character. Now, absolute moral difference in day-to-day management affairs, it is left to the managing director and the senior management team, which includes the CFO, CS, and all the marketing head. But interference is zero, absolutely, except for monitoring at the board meetings and some internal review meetings. Mr. 𝗷𝗂𝘁𝘁𝗲𝗏 is our chairman, executive chairman.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I think this was something which was missing out in my life, apart from ethical conduct. Working with a person who is so benevolent in terms of his whatever he does with spirit, and the spirit is always to benefit the society and give it back to the society, apart from business and all that. And this is where I learned that our CSR dates back to 1960s. When his father was the person during the drought times, and CSR was not even heard of in India, and he started that, and it was my goodness, the kind of changes they brought about in villages and those far-flung areas. Amazing. It's amazing. I have no words to even describe that. So
it's very impressive.
My chairman wrote me in for the CSR. I handled only the compliance part of CSR in earlier companies. There are 2% of every profit. But here, it was right from initiation, right from the first step to the last step, 31st of March. Everything was worked out. And I enjoyed visiting most of the top NGOs, including Cancer Patients Aid Association. We saw so many patients getting cured, coming out of cancer, poor patients, poor backgrounds helped by the institution. And Olympic Gold Quest, which basically finances and supports all the the handicapped Olympians from villages, wrestlers, boxers. And, fantastic. They all won gold for India. They are really to a flag very high. And, you feel so proud when you visit them. And they show that, because of your contribution, of course, other contributions are also there. This is what we have done for the country. So, it makes me different instead of just having a typical 9-to-5 job or some kind of compliance and tick box and this and that. I think this has made it very interesting. And I was given the liberty of getting into ESG, which I had never dealt with. ESG was a new concept, environmental social governance. And one of my mentors, Mr. 𝗀𝗃𝗍𝗍, the managing director at that time, he told me that, Amit, do you know environmental social governance? You have to pick up two things which are meant for you as a lawyer and as a company secretary. It's social and governance. Start working on that. I said, so this is basically handled by all sustainability experts in the other companies. And you are also an expert. Why don't you just read and you see for yourself? Environment, leave it to me because I'm an environmental specialist and I'm a technocrat. So leave it to our technocrats. We have the best of standards on safety, hygiene, everything. We just leave it. Just start focusing on social governance. And then I discovered it was fun. All the policies, of under social, particularly the prevention of sexual harassment, anti-bribery, code of conduct, whistleblower, diversity, social media. I think it was, we drafted every single policy for the company, got it approved by the board, put it up on the website, and we started with in-person trainings. The third year, this year, we internally developed e-learning modules for all our employees across with a question-answer testing mechanism, and we achieved excellent results on that. People just enjoyed it. Small videos explaining very simple, in a very simple way, how exactly you should deal with anti-bribery or sexual harassment. And people got the idea. They were able to respond to the questions, so they at least got the idea. And ESG has been a very exciting for us. I'll tell you, apart from CSR, I handle risk management, entire compliance systems of the company. and we have installed digitalized mechanism for compliance. And we got recognition twice from CNBC on the best of compliance systems installed by us. Our board processes are all digitalized, okay, through NASDAQ. NASDAQ is an entity of NASDAQ US, and they have done our digitalization of the entire board process. I'm currently just completing contract lifecycle management, CLM.
Okay.
Along with AI, combined with AI, and so it gives a very different kind of. It's a very challenging thing, for us, for people from that generation. Getting used to so much of IT, is immediately it puts you slightly back. Oh, still I'm comfortable with the paper or with the book or this, that, and I think we need to switch over. So we have done that. We have done it. Lots of dynamic things happening there. And ESG, we contributed for the sustainability report under the GRI, which is a global recognition of the sustainability report. And there also we got the best LSCP award, which is the American award given for the best sustainability report. And our contributions to CSR, society, governance, all they came out very well. So even the governance part, apart from being my core job as a company secretary, as a compliance is one part, Companies Act and SEBI regulations and all. But this is something, coming in tune with the global standards on governance. And that is what we achieve. Investor servicing, I'll tell you, investor servicing is such a function that no company secretary or lawyer would like to get into. It's a very mundane kind of thing that has been, that is treated as a very backup job or something. In our company, we have the best. We achieved the ISO standard on investor servicing. We got the certification from TUV for a very robust investor servicing process that responds within 48 hours of a request from a shareholder instead of the typical 15 days. And I think we are the only company in this sector which has got this certification. Other companies are HDFC Bank, ITC, the Tata Chemicals, all those, 4 or 5 big companies have got it. But in our category, small cap as well as in the chemical sector, we are the first and the only one to have got this certification. So from governance point of view also, this kind of satisfaction of delivering and ensuring that we are there, letter, spirit, heart and soul into it. Not just a tick box kind of guy who's there. There for the sake of Companies Act or for the sake of legal issues or the sake of compliance issues or contracts. So all those things, have really, last phase of my career, maybe another 3 years to go. But I think I'm quite upbeat. I'm really full, very, very charged up on the legal function. And my team is very happy with all youngsters. They are 20, 25 years younger than me, my team members. But they are all enjoying. They know that they have a very good career after having got the experience over here. Because normally you don't get that experience, multi-phase experience in other companies. You are fixated on a particular role, or you deal with board meetings, or you deal with compliance, or you deal with litigation, you deal with arbitration. But here you are a multifarious role and you get the opportunity also. So that is how the story has been. It's a very, 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 very exciting story.
And I can sense that, your passion where you started off, the fundamentals, the value system that you had getting into this profession. I think you probably are getting all of it at this point, which is remarkable. So
thanks to my chairman, Mr. Mahatla, because he has given me that liberty. And once he knows that, this guy, my function is the right hands, he gives it. And he leaves it to you, the kind of trust and confidence he reposes. I think this is all that is required in life. To achieve, you don't require very big salary packages and all those bonuses and star bonuses and all. I think even 2 words of encouragement and trust reposed in you by the owner, I think that takes you on a high. Very simple things in life, but they're, we may not have come from Oxford, Cambridge, or any of those MBA degrees on HR. But simple things, the way we motivated my team into work. And initially there was reluctance, pushback on this dynamic things, but they started enjoying it. And today when they compare themselves versus the others at peer level at their age, they find that they are much higher, much better in terms of at least experience they have.
Makes sense. No, in fact, you've kind of talked about it, and I did have that one question which probably you've kind of covered to some extent, but the point around with 7 years at NOCIL, and this is an enormous mandate, so much that you're covering, and you've kind of really handled it, so effective. But what does having a seat at the table really look like inside a chemicals company? I think I want to call that question out because I feel that as an industry, as a certain type of industry, how does that feel?
I'll tell you, this company, we are classified as a hazardous chemical industry.
Yes.
Okay. And we all recall the Bhopal gas disaster, methyl isocyanide leakage, and 2,000 people getting killed because of that leakage. So any chemical company, particularly our chemical company, since we are into rubber chemicals, and we also use the same gas, and we also use explosive devices with the permission of the government of India to manufacture products. I think the highest safety standard which is required in the entire industry or global level is to be followed by us. And smallest kind of accident or incident, I'll say, means that you are closed. They close down your shop. So this company has held it up for about 65 years now, and we have not had any such incident because we have been rated as as a highest safety standard that we have, which is called responsible care. It is given by the Indian Chemical Council, and this recognition is not given unless you attain all those standards, stringent audits on your systems, and no incidents reported. We have got that. I think the 4th year we are carrying that kind of tag. So when these things are so well managed, our engineers and our technocrats are so thoroughly conversant with the technology and all, you feel you also need to achieve that kind of standard in your area. There has to be a match. If there's an environmental, then social governance also has to be at par. And it's fun. Initially we professionals, legal compliance, normally we have a slight mental pushback. Oh, these are engineers. They are the ones who are leading business. So they will have better value. They will have better importance. It's not so. I think they will contribute to the business as equal importance. And we have a very professional board. Our majority of our directors are independent. All those great stalwarts are there, and we enjoy every board meeting where you learn.
Very different industries that they come from, which is the diversity.
And the way they contribute, I think they bring the kind of the dimensions at which they look at our performance and the way they gaze. I think every board meeting is a learning experience for us.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so Amit, one of the things, as a legal counsel, I did realize that you built a litigation manager and a compliance software from scratch inside the organization. What drove that, and what did it change for your team specifically? And that was not today. That was some time back, a long time.
Quite some time. We actually, let me tell you, the compliance. I'll start with the compliance software. This was, there's a guy called Suhas, and I was in PNG and he was based in Pune. And that's how we hit upon the idea of having a digitalized compliance system. And we worked on that for 2 months. We used to go to Pune, used to come down to Mumbai in our office. So we've been worked around 160 laws that were when we did the research, which were applicable to the company in various forms. And how exactly does the company ensure that we are compliant? It is not just a certification of quarterly compliance certificate by the concerned persons and all. How do we know? Because we don't know whether that fellow is actually doing it. And we have 4 plants. So imagine the kind of memo task that we had. But then we worked around with this team. And that was, I think, the first software in India in, 2011, which was created on compliance. And we did trainings across the country on the plants. And we discovered so many things which are there, which have not been done. In good faith, it was by negligence or by oversight, and we ensured that they were done. So it took almost a year for us to, implement that software, and that made life very easy for my board of directors and the managing director because they used to believe in good faith that yes, we are all there, we are compliant, we are complying with the law, fine. But if there's a show cause notice, and if there's a show cause notice from a regulator, local regulator somewhere in Bhopal, that you're not complied with the air pollution control law, you're not complied with the water pollution. And then, they have substantial powers against you. Under the pollution control laws, they can simply come and arrest the managing director. So, getting into that kind of situation of such a big multinational and then being reported by the media, that was one thing that we used to always dread of. And the reputation loss that you'll suffer as a consequence of a small violation, I think that was not acceptable. So the organization stood behind us. And we did that. And you won't believe, we presented this to the US team, our parent. and they couldn't believe that we could do it so well. US also had a similar program and all, but that was more into bits and pieces, not really the kind of program that they took. Example, just imagine a US entity, a parent entity, taking our data and learning from us, and that's a great thing. They don't Americans don't feel shy of learning. They simply admit, oh, I don't know this, you teach me. They won't say that, oh, I am the parent, and that ego and all those things. That you have to literally shed those egos and go ahead. So, litigation was another thing. See, I'll tell you, the first thing that I have been taught by my bosses throughout, litigation, if you say that it is your strong point, then it is a weak point for you. Because litigation is not something that any corporate will look forward to now.
Yes.
Okay. So your target should be that, okay, I'll come in, I'll monitor the litigation, and I'll ensure that I either settle, win, or close. Okay. No more dragging for 20 years and 25 years and all legacy cases of small labor laws here, there, dragging on, and lawyers making money, taking dates, and it's crazy, I tell you. And the records they generate over 20, 25 years, apart from storage, of course, we have the space for storage and all, but that is not what we are supposed to do. It was been done 16 years back, fine. Now we are with a digitalized mode and totally paperless offices. There's no question of getting into. So we have now started making only one single record, original record, in paper, which is required because of the court process and all. And otherwise, we have digitalized the entire thing. And this litigation software is working quite well across the country. So many service providers are there. And not really, because now all the courts registries are digitalized. So, you get, once you are subscribed to that, you start getting updates on your case. Next date, what happened the last date. You just log in at the e-court site and you get the details. So, here also my paramount task was we had about 14, 15 cases when I came. So now it is just three of them. That also will check. So now that has been added as my KPI, as a performance objective. Litigation has to be eradicated from the books. And we found that it is possible, settle out and finish. So, kitna paisa hum logon ne kharcha hai, it's a crazy amount that you spend on lawyers and not getting anything. Just ego fight. So unless it's a very serious case against a regulator, where there's a criminal matter or something, there you have to really fight it. Or if it impacts your business substantially, right?
Yes.
Other cases is all futile, absolutely futile. So this was system.
So you think that you could think about the compliance software at that time. I think the foresight is so appreciated. I mean, I think it's an amazing way of thinking.
It was not accepted immediately by many people at that time.
So I did, I think you've talked about on the ESG side and governance, and I would touch upon that because ESG is such a big topic.
It's a massive topic, yes.
And NOCIL, of course, the big thing is they've won ET Legal CSR Awards 3 years running. So from
we won this,
exactly. I mean, which is great. So from the inside, I mean, you talked about a little bit. Could you elaborate what is the legal and governance work that actually happens that makes that happen?
Yeah, I'll tell you. See, where the intentions are clear that I am benefiting certain sections of the society, whether it is handicapped children or children from a very poor background or cancer patients who are likely to die without treatment, and even animal care for that matter, animals which are abandoned and they are left on the road dying, and there's an institution which is taking care of them genuinely, and the money that I spend or give it to them, and they spend every rupee for that objective. Okay, so that was the first thing that when I came here, apart from the compliance part, I saw, and I was so much of inclined towards it that we started a very different process. That if we have some new NGO coming up for contribution, we used to do a complete KYC background check. We insisted on their statutory auditor certificates of deployment of funds by 31st March. We collect quarterly reports from them. I have contributed 25 lakhs to you. Now tell me every quarter how exactly you spent it. And I want a rupee-wise report on that. Then we do NGO site visits. My team does a site visit. They personally go as a surprise check, and on the site they discover what is happening, what is not happening, where are our beneficiaries, and we send people from the plants also to these NGO sites. And believe me, we have not been able to find any wrongdoing anywhere in these last 7 years. So they prepare their internal reports. we get the annual reports, and then finally the board approves. The CSR committee takes cognizance of the entity and then gives an approval for the tentative plan for the entire year. So just before this call, I finished the CSR 30th April. We are meeting the final tentative plan for next year. So I've just finished that plan, which I'll discuss in final. But so it's all so well structured. I'll tell you that. Nobody has been able to pinpoint a flaw in the process, and it is not just paper compliance or theoretical compliance, but practically on ground we have ensured that our funds are getting utilized. So that is
no, it's great to see the spirit and the letter of it, right? So letter is obviously, there's compliance requirements around it, but more importantly, if it's in the spirit of how it has to be done, I think there can be nothing better. Yeah, so great.
You won't believe we have helped TUE develop a ISO standard on CSR. That's the first thing that we worked with them on investor servicing. Okay, that's the first mandate they ever took up on investor servicing. So they told us that you guide us on this. What are the processes? Then we fit into the ISO requirements, so the QMS manual. And they were so enthused. They got 2 mandates after that. They got K-Fintech's mandate in Hyderabad, and here they got National Stock Exchange. National Stock Exchange is coming out with the IPO.
Yeah. So, that's interesting. But tell me, did that, of course, the challenge is also is that everyone has a different scorecard. So whether it's investors, regulators, civil society, do they have different definitions of ESG, and do you have to really hold them together and not without losing coherence around it?
So I'll tell you, overall sustainability standards, ESG ratings have become very important even in the Indian markets. Many companies are not taking it seriously. They feel that it's still another compliance thing, burden, compliance cost. It's not so, particularly with the world, the entire global economy is looking at sustainability standards because of climate change and all those factors. They've very seriously been done. So even in the Indian investing community that we have, our top investors, they very closely monitor our certifications on responsible care that I talked about on safety, our GRI, that is a global standard on sustainability, eco audit, where we are a silver medalist. All those things they very closely monitor, and if we are slightly delayed, immediately they start questioning the company has not achieved this. Why is it not achieved? And we get questions more on sustainability than the accounts and finance. So that is the way world standards have moved up on this thing and going up day by day. We have to be there. So and then these big agencies, these global entities now certify you. They cannot be fooled by your theoretical preparation of policies and beautiful records. Here we have done this. This is no. They will come and they do independent verification of that, and they will conduct interviews. And they can immediately make out that this guy has already cooked up or fabricated the old document, and to get the certification. So they don't get. They simply deny it. So the investors in India have become really very concerned about sustainability standards, and at least for professional companies like ours in the chemical sector and all, they are seriously looking at what kind of heights we are achieving in terms of sustainability. Very seriously looking at that. If they monitor the questionnaires, they come to us every 3 or 4 months after our quarterly board meetings, and first thing they ask, how many awards did you get during a quarter? Because you people are, so we tell them, and then it's a claim. It's a claim.
Yeah, very, very interesting. But having said that, and I think this is so positive, and but after decades of watching governance up so close across sectors and ownership structures, what is the one most underrated governance failure you still see Indian companies making? Do you see anything like that?
Yeah, I'll tell you. What I have observed. I'm not passing my marks on any particular thing. Overall, what I've seen from the experience of many corporates that have failed, the new startups as well as some other companies also, and where independent directors somehow the concept of independence has not really been implemented with seriousness. These guys are professionals. They are on the boards because they are friends or directly connected or somebody known to the promoters. And I have studied those cases where corporates have failed, and today those independent directors are getting prosecuted for big defaults and negligence. They've just not opened up. Yeah. Any big issue where it should have raised their eyebrows and their ears and they should have at least raised that issue. But somehow, there's a tilt in favor of what the promoter wants. And so long as the tilt is there, they'll never dare to raise any awkward question where there could be a problem. And that is where we need them, Independent director's role is where they independently look at a problem and solve it instead of our biased thinking. But if they also fall into our bias and they start saying what we want, independence is impacted. Second thing is about women.
You talk about the spirit in the letter, right? And I think when you say, okay, you have to have a set of directors, great, but if you're not kind of really following the spirit of it, that okay, as a director, it's my responsibility to kind of call this out, right? Because it's the benefit of the company, right? Nothing more. It's for the betterment. So I think that's a great point. That's a great point.
I know there are so many independent actors who got qualified from the Institute of Corporate Affairs. And secondly is about his woman director. Okay, we want to believe in gender diversity. We should have women directors on board. But what has happened is, I'm not talking about my company because we have a professional director. She's a very absolutely different professional altogether, very dedicated to her profession. But other companies, what I've noticed where my friends and my PLL people are, that somebody known, a good educated, somebody known to the promoter's family, friends, or please come on the board. We need a woman director. So the lady comes, asks some questions which are all maybe tutored or prepared. And they have compliance is there. So I think over a period of time now, this particular aspect has not been taken up very seriously by at least the promoter-driven companies. As far as the institutions are concerned, as far as the the MNCs are concerned and all, I think independent directors are playing an role. In PSUs, institutions, banks, they can't tilt in favor of the promoter. They have to take up
that's how issues here.
Because Yes Bank, we saw that. So independent directors, they were not possible because they took up that against the very powerful promoter over there. So, but in case of promoter-driven companies which are listed and all, I still find, it's okay. They have a board and they have an independent director. So that is something where I think our conscience should, take it up. It's not that you get into nobody is expecting you to get into a tussle or question everything that is coming up, but at least raise the red flag when you feel very strongly as a professional that this is not fair, or at least question it. But if you don't even do that, then I think it's all puppeted.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's such an important flag, and you've talked about multiple flags actually for the industry. And that connects me to something that's dominating every conversation right now, which is technology, specifically AI as well. And of course, you've been building legal tools since your PNG days. Long before legal tech was even a phrase. Now AI is everywhere. And from where you sit, what is genuinely changing, and what do you think is still hype?
So I'll tell you, AI, the way it has been, there are two extremes in AI. One school set believes that, AI is going to totally transform the entire function. People will lose their jobs, and we just need one person who will do everything. They just put it up AI and get everything ready-made from the system. There is a need to have people do monitor and all that. There is one set of school. The other set of school believes that, boss, for legal professionals, it cannot replace legal acumen. The legal brain, that way it works, nobody can think like that. You cannot. It is not replaceable by any artificial means or any system in the world. And this has been abundantly proven by the US courts. They've thrown out any judgment or any kind of petition or reply based on it. Immediately the country is from very coordinated, and there that country, the judges are not believing it. And I'll share with you my experience also on this. Indian courts also, they have all, in the last 1 year, there have been maximum rejections of all cases where it has been cited by AI. And one magistrate has been suspended by the Supreme Court for, he cited AI in his judgment. And that irked the Supreme Court judges to such an extent that what is this happening? You are replacing you are outsourcing your function to AI. You are supposed to be the highest caretaker of justice. So this is one part, my experience is that we posed some queries on the labor codes, the DPDP Act which came, the digital data thing. And we tried with Gemini, we tried with ChatGPT, we tried with Meta. Same question. Believe me, we got wrong answers. Totally wrong answers. You see, Maharashtra government has not yet notified the rules for enactment of the labor codes, right? When we put up this query, we got the response that they are already enacted and they are being enforced. So then we checked up and we found that there was nothing which is, they are still in the last stage of drafting, not even notified. So, my experience is I've always got wrong answers. Even citations of law, some of the case laws that we have dig into, there have been mistakes on that. So as of now, maybe it will advance, maybe it will go further. Now, where the utility is, I'll tell you. The utility is for procedural issues, procedures, drafting.
Which also is important, right? In a way, the application is very useful because at least you are being clear in the way you are able to communicate, which is
they're able to express proper English and they are able to express what they want. So these are the things up to which it is very useful. Secondly, AI in case of contract lifecycle management, CLM. I think only 2 companies in India are offering that particular product, but it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I'll tell you how. I'll just give you a small example. That my company enters into contracts for procuring raw materials of my product. And we have got about 5 or 10 vendors, suppliers. And we have standard templates of agreements and different terms. And we normally have fights on arbitration clause, indemnity clause, this clause, lots of fights. This particular software, AI, what it does, the moment there's a draft agreement sent by a vendor to us, put it to the AI that we have. I think within a minute, you'll come to know that how it is not compatible with your standard template. Secondly, it will tell you the risk factors for NOCIL, for my company, where you could face a liability.
Exactly.
And thirdly, it will give you the draft which is supposed to be there to replace that. It will make the corrections also in the draft that fellow has sent to me, as per my standard template. So this is one major thing that we have discovered. And we are yet to apply that.
Would you say AI is helpful wherever it is able to give you a lot of input? Then it's up to you. You kind of collate it and you take a look and do it, and then of course as long as you
say your discretion, you can't ask a judgment or you can't ask a matter to be resolved by AI. Okay, I'm in this situation, he's in that situation. Please decide who should be right. That cannot happen. But if it is a supportive, procedural, and to make a very expeditious process, I think, yes, within a minute you get everything, whether the agreement is good, not good, where it is bad. All those things you can get out of the entire system itself.
Absolutely. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
And a lot of other products are coming up on AI for legal, though it is taking time because, they are experiencing a lot of pushback from legal professions. AI are developers and they're still trying to convince people that how it is going to be useful. There's a fear with legal fraternity that we'll lose our jobs. And, initial pushbacks are there. They are there. Accounting, definitely I can say that they're going to lose their jobs. Accounting 100% because it makes you balance sheet and gives you the balance sheet also.
Yes. And you say that, so I was going to ask this question, what is that 1 or 2 barriers that you see organizations or departments who are looking to adopt AI? What are those barriers from your perspective?
See, the barriers are that we want to be exposed to the latest trends, and there are a lot of good professional trainings happening on AI and how to integrate that AI in your function. Now, initially, I feel that there is, on part of corporate, there is a bit of reluctance that, it is still in the very initial stage. Why do you want to waste money on this? It's another cost to us. It will happen in course of time when other corporates do it. Let's not jump. Let us not do a kind of jump the gun and be there. And it will change. Today you'll undergo a training and you will accept something, and tomorrow again the technology will change.
Yes.
So why don't you hold back and have some patience before we pounce to it? So that kind of pushback of acceptance of AI is definitely there. But let me tell you, for all risk management committees of companies, today, the 2 major risks that any company looks at is one is AI and second is geopolitical issues. Other risk factors are all taking a backseat.
Well, risk risk converting into opportunity or risk converting into a big risk,
Yeah.
this threat is something
Yeah.
which should be assessed. Fair enough.
So, people are still struggling to find out how exactly will it damage them or benefit them. And if benefit them, how? To what extent? People are still struggling to, calculate in terms of measurables of faith. So
Right.
that will, I think, in course of time, it will happen. Anything that comes up new, there is always a pushback and
Yeah.
teething problems. But when I think it should help. Technology is always help if you use it in the right direction.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks for that answer.
Makes
I mean, that
sense.
was very helpful. So, I suspect a lot of people will listen to this and will relate to it very quickly as well. I'll close this section on a forward-looking note, right? So for a young lawyer who wants to build a career, a kind of career you have, right, spanning law, governance, sustainability, technology, what is that one piece of advice that is simply not there on a LinkedIn post? And you know why I'm asking that, because a lot of things which are always posted on LinkedIn versus what the reality or what the main thing is. So how would you what would be that advice?
See, the first bit of advice is that if you look at the global statistics and the global figures and the global scenario, legal professionals are having a grand time all over the world. Okay, they are all being recognized as big value additions to business. They are not being reckoned as typical tick boxes who are there and sitting as cost. Because in the US also about 50 years back, it was reckoned as a compliance, a cost burden after SOX came in and all. But today, I think a multifarious role on part of a corporate law professional or a company counsel I'm talking about, definitely the man looks up to you for advice. And it's up to you, how you come up and, project your, not just project, but even project the right kind of advice. For example, if there's an issue on DPDP, the board discussions come up and the senior guys, they look at me, yeah, what do you want to say on this? You have anything on this DPDP? How exactly will you do? There's some problem there. And if you're just blank, or you just say that a typical lawyer that I have to check and come back, then, okay, they'll not come to you. Okay. But at least you should have something to share. Let's see, this is what it is. But I think I'll come back to you with more details on this. This is the initial thing. At least you should have the awareness of that particular happening in the world and what is happening in the country. What I find missing in today's generation is the reading and the concentration. People just want to see some visuals and presentations for some 6, 7, 8 minutes. I've calculated that. Beyond 8 minutes, they switch off. Whereas, we used to be engrossed in our books, in our journals like crazy. I mean, we never used to get up once we used to start studying. And that is how we did our initial stage of career and throughout your... So, the current day generation doesn't have, I don't know, they just want a quick answer. So, they just go for resolution. I'll tell you, resolution's been drafted. You go to AI resolution, resolve that, so and so. You have a look at it, how it applies. And I find mistakes in all those drafts. So
Right.
that engrossment and deep reading and analysis power which a lawyer should have. I think we are losing that edge with technology, and we're not using the technology for the right kind of thing. We are using it for shortcutting and quick. Okay, fast, expeditious. But in law, unless you go to that particular fine print and study these, it doesn't help. Superficial presentation may help for some time, impress some people. But when it comes, they start asking you very pinpointed questions. You are gone. You have no answers. And that is what I found with all the new generation guys. When I put them to test internal meetings and all. And I'm just then they'll just put their cell phone on and they'll tuck. And I said, that's fine. You've given me the answer for the sake of it. But have you understood how exactly it is applied? Have you thought over it? I think the technology is really overtaken everyone in terms of thinking. So my suggestion is that, don't be just confined. First of all, don't be confined to a particular set of laws. So I'm very happy with company law. I'm very happy with SEBI. I'm very happy with this. I'll not do that. Don't do that. You have to be a journalist and you have to be a general counsel. You should have some knowledge or some bit of idea about developments in the law and implications for your company. And that requires regular reading and updation. I'm not saying that you become a PhD student by, deeply reading 2 hours in a day, like exam and all. At least you be in touch with the latest websites. There's so many good sites updating you on the latest day-to-day basis. There's something happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So you should be fully aware of what is happening in the world and in your country on the legal front and how it implies to particular company. That is that awareness. And, one should not be just confined to, that is competition law. I have not really understood. I think expand the horizons of knowledge as much as possible. That's what I have done. I couldn't understand one thing is the tax laws. Because there is weakness of dealing with figures. So tax laws I didn't get into because we are experts on tax law, plenty of them. Chartered accountants. But other laws, definitely I have always had it. So I've read Competition Act, Consumer Protection, I must know. DPDP, of course, it's going to impact all of us. Labor codes. Initially, company secretaries were, they didn't want to get into labor laws. Labor laws, क्या compliance है? But अभी labor code आया है. If you see everybody has become a great interpreter around labor codes. Everybody is writing articles. So I feel happy that they are looking. They give seriousness to this. Earlier it was not so. Labor laws का कहीं article मिलता ही नहीं था. Because hardly people used to write on labor laws. अरे ठीक है वो तो यार that's a secondary. अभी yes, there are implications for companies. Companies want their lawyers to find out कि भाई हमारा gratuity में क्या provision आएगा, कितना provision करना पड़ेगा. You please find out. So people are working on that and they are expressing and sharing on LinkedIn. It's a very good thing.
So that's brilliant, and that's a brilliant piece of advice, I must say. So I'm going to shift gears for something which is generating a lot of debate in legal circles right now, and I know you also talk about that, which is confidentiality clauses. We are seeing increasing challenges around overbreadth, misuse, enforceability. From your perspective, which of these issues is most concerning, or is beyond that, which is the most concerning right now? And are there cases that you, in your view, can bring these challenges to life? Sure.
I'll share with you in brief that we have we have an exclusive patent of a particular technology and development of a 𝗷𝗂𝘀𝘁. And this technology was developed after years of hard work by the scientists at my plant. Huge bunch of scientists experimented. This technology is not found even with the American corporates. It's only copied by some people in China, and they're copy masters, so they do that. But nobody else in India has this technology. So we have registered a patent in the US, and we have registered a patent in India. Right now, there's a whole bunch of team which was involved working on this, and they all have signed NDAs, specific NDAs about this technology that I'm exposed to the processes, methods, and I'll not share. Even if I join a competitor after resigning from here for 5 years, first condition is I'll not join a competitor, and if at all I join, I will not share even a fraction of what I have studied here with any competitor to the detriment of this business. Now, that is all commitment given by all. One gentleman took up all the information and progressed, and he was a good performer also. After he had signed this NDA, and after this, within a month of resigning from this company, after having spent about 20 years, he joined a immediate competitor.
Okay.
That competitor was already hunting and poaching for people because he wanted to get into the same product for which we have a patent. He wanted to develop that so that he could screw us on the business. So he took this guy there and started setting a plant to exclusively deal with this patented technology that we have. Now, on what we discovered this, so we confronted this gentleman. Boss, what is wrong with you? Why you are doing this? You have benefited from this company for 20 years, and no, I am not doing anything. How can you say that I have shared any information? I have a right to make my livelihood. How can you share? Logical arguments. Fine.
Right.
So our question was that, is he associated? Yes, we know that he is associated with that particular company. How do we find out? So we put a spy agency, detective agency, and they specialize only in corporate espionage and all that. And within a week, they came back to us saying that this guy is employed as a retainer, for a particular amount per month. He's been used exclusively for development of this technology. They have already filed application in the government. So this was an immediate. So we confronted. They again refused. Blatantly, you are violating, boss. You'll be in trouble. You do whatever you want. So we sued that company, and we sued this fellow. Okay. The proceedings have been going on for 1.5 years now. Okay. So it took us at least 3 months to explain to him that how this gentleman has violated his NDA by joining this company. See the proof, see the evidence. So the judge took his own time to understand the NDA and that this guy is violated with proof and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then this guy raises a issue that I am not aware of technology. I was dealing only with administration. I was only dealing with compliances. So how this company can make an allegation that I was exposed to this technology? Though I've signed this NDA, yes. So everything is on, the burden of proof is always on the plaintiff to prove that, yes, he's right. So what we did, we dug out his self-evaluation reports every year, what he had prepared, because he used to prepare in hand and give it under his signatures.
Right.
As to what great things he has done. So 6 years reports we got, everywhere he has written in his own handwriting that he was exposed to this technology. He contributed so well. He was appreciated. He was given bonuses because of his exposure to this technology. So we gave it to the court. We said, now you put him behind bars for perjury. Okay. So this is where he is stuck. Now the company, the rival company. See, they know that they are caught because with all the data that we have submitted. So what he has done, he has gone to the registrar of patents and he has also filed a fresh application for patent of the same product. And then he is telling the court that this is an old technology. How can they claim? I will challenge their patent also. Their patent is not valid. I have also applied for it. So not just to water down the entire essence of that technology itself. These are the tactics.
Okay.
But you can imagine the struggle that we had to undergo. Right? I'll tell you, in many cases that we studied while fighting this case, we found that courts are not very much inclined to give an injunction against such a person or against the company, that rival company. First, they say that this is a livelihood. Okay. Now, supposing you throw out this person from your company, how will he survive? How will he earn his livelihood? He can only work in a company basis his experience. You can't expect him to go to a cold drink company and do engineering over there. He can only go to a chemical company. So you are actually stopping somebody from earning a livelihood against the fundamental rights of the citizen. He said, fine, no issues. Now this person steals something from my place. And then he says that, I need to survive, so I have stolen. That is not justified. He stole the technology, all intellectual property that we contributed. Okay. The court then says, okay, show us the proof. How exactly how do we show that he went to the plant and he shared this technology? And it's only circumstantial evidence that we have.
Right.
That after he joined, they applied for a license. Okay. The license, they mentioned this particular technology. All these things started happening after he joined them. So it's quite obvious that he has shared it. I mean, you cannot film or you cannot show any, how can you do that also? Impossible to do.
Yeah.
So that's where we studied the case laws. And fortunately, the government has recently introduced a trade secrets bill, just like the US law.
Okay.
And the trade secret will make a big difference when it becomes a law, maybe in course of another year or so. And it covers all such situations. That moment you sign an NDA, moment you say that, yes, I'm specific to this technology, I'm getting exposed, you can be immediately restrained from even seeking employment. If there's a violation, you have to give an affidavit to the court that I will not share even an iota of what I've done toward there. If you violate, you go behind bars. So, see, Trade Secrets Act is something which is there in US, which they use for all IT companies and all, because massive ideas on every software which is shared. So, Trade Secrets Act has been very, very instrumental, very important in preventing it. But in India, that law has not yet come. It is, of course. In the meantime, we struggle. We struggle with the case. So this is something where I find it's a very dicey issue. You feel that the guy has stolen their technology openly and then he's doing all this. One thing we discovered.
Very big concern, I would say.
One thing we discovered was a flaw on our part, that we should have done a forensic check of his laptop when he left. Okay. Because we were told subsequently that if there's a forensic report that he has deleted or he has transferred some files, and those files contain some important information relating to your technology, then definitely they will get an injunction. Because that is a theft. Technically, under the penal provisions, it's theft. But I think at that time we didn't do that because we always believe people in good faith, and so. And now we have started that process. And anybody who leaves, and we suspect he's joining a competitor, we immediately do a forensic check of his laptop. Last 6 months, all entries we check. That if he shared any files, if he transferred any files, downloaded any material, all those things we check. We can make out. And now I do training programs also in NDAs for all those people and tell them why you are supposed to sign and what you are not supposed to do. So yeah, slowly it is doing an impact. It's making an impact. But it's a tough thing that I have faced. It's not a cakewalk. It's not a cakewalk.
Now, thanks for sharing this perspective. I think a lot of people will benefit from your learnings. While, of course, the law is enacted. So, of course, that will be a different.
So by next year it should come, because it will protect people who are intellectually, they reach themselves. And there are thieves out there who are stealing it. So.
Very true. So, this has been genuinely a rich conversation.
Yeah,
but before we let you, we have a quick rapid fire.
Sure.
And short answers, first instinct.
Yeah,
Are you
sure.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Short and
One
sweet.
word. Okay. One word when I see the word, say contracts.
It's arbitration on which you are stuck.
Okay.
Because normally there's a dispute in arbitration. The
Okay.
seat of
Fair enough.
arbitration and who will be the arbitrator, sole, or all those things
Yeah.
require a long time to settle.
Okay.
Even before the dispute, the dispute on arbitration clause starts.
Okay. Biggest pet peeve in a poorly drafted agreement.
See, sometimes there are some people who try to overemphasize on certain words like acknowledged and agreed, acknowledged and agreed, and again, repetition, just to give vent to their bent of mind that no, you agree. I have said that yes, I undertake. That means that I have acknowledged it. There is a question of doing acknowledge and agreed, acknowledge and agreed, acknowledge and agreed. So these kind of things, which are superfluous, which really, which show the intention on the other side of imposing something, not trusting.
Okay. Coffee or tea during a negotiation?
Well, coffee to keep ourselves awake. I mean, we should be conscious of what is some slippage of some clause and we are done. So we need to be awake.
Yeah. Fair enough. One thing you wish everyone understood about being an in-house counsel?
Well, the high risk of prosecution I face as a principal officer of the company, as an officer in default, which is what in the Companies Act we are an officer in default, and other laws, we become principal officer in default. That unless there is a prosecution, we don't want any prosecution to happen. But people must realize that if there is some unfortunate event, this guy is first to get screwed, and he'll end up defending himself despite doing his job diligently. So that is one thing that people must that no other professional faces here.
Yeah, very important. If you could change one law in India, which one?
Companies Act, because the kind of volumes and volumes of we are adding by way of rules and regulations. We shorten the main act, we add rules. Why can't we make it very, very simple and remove all those superfluous provisions which are just dating back to the British days and all absolutely superfluous.
Fair. And finally, before that, one word that describes your legal team.
Very excited and charged up. Every day they come charged up. Every day they come charged because I've told them when you come to the office, you should not come with a distasteful mind that kuch mistake milega, kuch ye hoga. You should come charged up and I'll do something today. So they are.
Yeah, that's really good. Definitely good to hear. And finally, your success mantra, the one you actually live by.
Well, very simple. My success mantra is that I unfortunately go to the micros. And unless I go to the bottom of any particular issue, whether it is legal or non-legal, I don't come out with a solution. And I don't accept a solution being offered by somebody, just on the face of it. So that sometimes it is taken as a detriment, micro kind of reading, but I think the micro reading ultimately helps you get the solution. It may offend somebody, but when you go deep dive, you find a very different kind of situation here from what this guy is saying. So that is one thing that I can't just give an opinion off the cuff.
Yeah. Agreed. Great. So that's a wonderful note to end on, Amit. And 3 decades practicing law with conscience and consistency.
Yes.
And it comes to the answer that you've given.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time, your candor, and for being on Counsel's Code.
Sure.
For our listeners, of course, if this conversation sparked something, share it with your colleague, a young lawyer, or anyone who believes that governance and integrity are not obstacles to business, but the very foundation of it.
Yes.
Until next time, this has been Counsel's Code from Volody and 𝗀𝗂𝘀𝘁. Thank you.